Welcome everybody to Forza Motorsport 6, and today we're dealing with the 1967 Mercedes-Benz 280 SL. Now this was a car produced between 1967 and 1971. Nearly 24,000 were produced, and more than half of them were sold to the US. So yeah, primarily a US market kind of car, and I can see why, because it's highly stylized and looks great overall as far as I'm concerned. It's also only a two-seater, by the way, but there is space behind the seats for any extra luggage, and it's got quite a big boot. So practical, looks great, and the engine, as far as I'm concerned, is pretty good as well. So let's take a look at that. Now the 280 part of this car's name denotes the engine size, so it's a 2.8 litre inline 6 engine, producing 180 horsepower and 193 pounds-feet of torque, which granted isn't all that much today, and you'd get a hell of a lot more out of a modern day SL, but back then pretty good. And since it only weighs 3,120 pounds, it can make the use of most of that power, because it certainly doesn't weigh as much as some cars from that era did, that's for sure. So yeah, I'm not really going to compare this against any other cars, because this is more than a car, this is an icon, and quite frankly it's more about style and comfort and reliability over performance. Well, that's not to say it's slow, because it isn't. And with it having a manual gearbox, unlike some SLs that were sold between 1967 and 1971, it doesn't have an automatic. So yeah, it's certainly got some sports car flair in it. But to see that, we're going to have to take it out onto the track and see what it can do. So see you when we get there. Welcome to Long Beach Full. We're going to take this car around on the first lap and talk through it on the second lap. So yeah, as you can see, it's not the quickest thing in the world by any means, and yeah, that's kind of summed up by the acceleration times: 0 to 60, 10 seconds, 0 to 100 in 23.5 seconds, and going to a top speed of 130 mile an hour. But I don't care about that. Handling wise, it's not the best, but I don't care about that either. Braking wise, not the best either. You could certainly do better from the time, but I don't care about that either. This is a car about style and charisma and personality over speed and handling and everything like that. And even though the handling and braking isn't great, it's efficient, and it's sufficient enough, should I say, for the power that it has, and it deals with the power really well. It doesn't roll around all that much, and certainly isn't a car inclined to step out or oversteer and smoke tyres and anything like that. It's a cruising kind of car. that has some sports car flair in it. And yeah, quite frankly, I love the look of it. I love the sound of it, and it's got a whole lot more charisma to it than a lot of cars do from this era. And it's become one of my favourite cars on the game, even though it only came out yesterday in the car pack. And yeah, it's certainly my favourite from the car pack as well, because it's a car that not only have I ever wanted in a game for a long time, but it's also the car that was a revelation to me when I saw it being reviewed on Top Gear several years ago. And it broke open the door to me that speed and power isn't everything, and a car can be enjoyed no matter how much power it has, as long as it's got something else going for it, like personality or engine noise or looks or anything like that. So yeah, this is a kind of genesis car for me in terms of how much I like cars nowadays, and no matter how much power they have. So yeah, it's a cracking car as far as I'm concerned, and is certainly a car I'd love to own, because not only is it a good car in no terms to drive, even though it's not all that quick, it's also an icon, and even today celebrities would love to own one, and celebrities back in the day did as well, like Sterling Moss and John Lennon. So yeah, it's a brilliant car, and I'm so glad they put it in the game. I wish there was more old Mercedes in this game. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.